Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television and Board Game. Today, I'm Brett. We're doing a review of Warhammer 40,000 Marneus Calgar number 4 out in comic shops this week. Now, the comic series takes the popular Warhammer 40,000 tabletop miniature game and brings it to comics. Now, there's been many iterations of the Warhammer comic universe, but this is now with Marvel Comics. And this first volume has been like really fairly interesting because it isn't just your standard, we're going to tell the story of Space Marines going and shoot the bad guys. It does a lot more and actually has driven a lot of more of a depth and background to Marneus Calgar. Like, it has added to the Warhammer 40,000 mythos, which is, I think, really impressive and very unexpected. So the comic is written by Kieron Gillen. Jacen Burrows is the penciler. Guillermo Ortego is the inker. Tartaglia is the colorist. Clayton Cowles is the letterer. Joe Sabino is the designer. All right, so this is where we're at so far. So the big reveal, spoiler, is that Marneus Calgar isn't actually Marneus Calgar. He's a guy named Tacitin, who was kind of like the serf to Marneus Calgar. The real Marneus was a hoity-toity, like a rich person who was getting paid to train and become a space marine, and he brought on this like assistant, Tacitin, with him, who was also going to train, and then two other guys. Well, Marneus wound up getting killed, and then Tacitin, to honor Marneus, takes on the name. So this was a huge reveal and like kind of a shock, not expected at all. We get to see Tacitin, Marneus now, grow up from this, teenager to become a space marine. I don't even think he was kind of a teenager. Might have been like 13 at the time, 12, something like that, and into becoming a space marine. This is the issue where we really get to see that. In the present, Marneus is battling chaos forces on Ultramar and attempting to battle them back. Obviously, the two stories are tied together, and this is where things are starting to come together as far as that, with just, I think, one more issue to go in the miniseries. Everything will hopefully wrap up, not really hopefully, because it's good. I kind of want it to go. Things will probably wrap up pretty soon. So this issue is really interesting in that it focuses more on the past and how Tacitin became a space marine, how he became an ultramarine, and takes you through that. Now, I've been playing 40K and into Games Workshop as a whole for probably about 25 years at this point. I started about when I was 16-ish. Probably 25, 26 years. I spent some time actually working for Games Workshop, ran game stores, so like fairly familiar with the Warhammer 40,000 universe. And I have to say, it's been a really long time since I've kind of gone over and looked at all the various organs are put in for Space Marines and the initiation that they go through to be enhanced. Well, this comic basically sums all that up. It's actually really kind of cool. It takes that field guide concept that we've seen so many times before and compacts it into the actual narrative. So we get to see Tacitin, now Marneus, go through the stages as he becomes a space marine, which is actually really cool. So, it'll be a scene of 13 to 14, this organ is put in and it does this. So, reminded things like the acid saliva, and that space marines have a thing where they can eat flesh and gain some of the memories. Really cool stuff, and it reminds me a lot of the old field guides you'd get for role-playing games, or Warhammer 40,000. I don't remember what book it was. Maybe it was the Ultramarine Codex for 2nd edition, where there was a thing of a space marine down, and it kind of had the dots and all that as to where the organs were, and a slight rundown of the organs. It's been a really long time. It might have been Rogue Trader, it might have been the Ultramarine Codex, but I vaguely remember something like that somewhere, and just poring over reading all the various organs. Now, I haven't gone back and compared all that to this comic, but I'm going to trust Kieron Gillen got it right, because he seems to be got his stuff down. So it's really cool in that sense. I'm going to give you a little bit taste of that. Yeah, we'll go with this. So here we've got 2 pages of it. And the art's kind of cool with that. It has this strange field guide vibe to it, and I think it's really neat way to have the readers who might be new to the Warhammer 40,000 universe digest the information and take that in as to what it takes to become a space marine. There's some fun with it too. We see the initial initiates who are signing up to try to become a space marine, and their numbers just starting to dwindle, realizing that it takes a lot to become one, and this isn't you wash out and you go home. You're dead. If you fail, you're dead. So there really isn't much option here. as far as succeeding or failing. It's just you need to succeed. And, it's, obviously we know Marneus succeeds, but we don't know everything he definitely goes through. And I think the final surprise is what it takes for him to finally become a Space Marine. It's a moment I don't think I've really thought about for the comic and what it really, really means for the character and his brush with chaos when he was younger. Like, this is a really interesting detail that I think Gillen does a fantastic job of putting in there and adding it to the character. It's one of those that makes me wonder if we might be seeing more of Marneus in the 40,000 universe, the Warhammer 40,000 universe, like an ever-changing and growing storyline. There's some potential there for some pretty big moments and shakeups. I doubt we'll see it because the gamers would just go completely insane and lose their freaking mind. The other is nice is that it gets juxtaposed with the present where battles are going and raging and he's doing his fighting. And this is an issue that we see a little bit more of the blood splatter and the ultra violence. It's something that I've kind of been concerned about a little bit with the comic, in that Warhammer 40,000 is a pretty brutal comic. It is over the top violence, real sexual imagery. At least it was. It's kind of gotten washed up a little bit and it's kind of going back to it a little bit. This isn't something for kids if you really, really dive into it. The game, totally for kids, all that's fine. But the imagery and the stories and all that are kind of jacked up when you really go into it. So I've been kind of interested in seeing how Marvel would handle that, and it's good to see here in that, we're at least getting the over top of the violence, and it is over the top. I mean, it becomes humorous at time in like a Tarantino way of the blood splattering all over the place. So the art, I think, has gotten better. Like, I actually think that as the series has progressed, it's gotten better, and this is the best yet. Still a little iffy on the Chaos Space Marines, but overall, like, it's, I think, the best issue visually. And some really solid stuff there. Like, I loved the going through and seeing all the various surgeries Marneus has put through to become a Space Marine. It's a really solid issue. It's really, really good. And if you are a fan of Warhammer 40,000, it's well worth checking out. If you've never read the series, you're not familiar with it, like, really probably should go back to the beginning. I don't know if this is when you can really jump into with the fourth issue. Yeah, fourth issue. But I think overall the series is really good. If you're into like sci-fi Space Marine stuff, it's well worth checking out. With one issue to go. Like, I'm excited to see where it goes. I want to see how this wraps up, and it's just, I think, a really, really cool series. As a 40K fan, I'm super happy with it. It's exceeded my expectations, and I'm like really excited and hoping we get more from Marvel, and that this isn't just some one and done thing. So yeah, like, it's really, really cool. Now, if you're into comics, we got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. You can go find a local comic shop to go get it. If you don't have a local comic shop, we do have some affiliate links underneath as well where you can purchase. There are affiliate links, so we get a small percentage of that. By doing that, you help support our site, so thank you. And just watching, I want to thank you. Now, if you're here for Graphic Policy, you can check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. If you're here for BoardGameToday.com, you can go BoardGameToday.com for all the game news, and follow that Board Game Today on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And Tumblr as well, I believe. You can go get all the stuff there as well, so follow us with that. As always, really much appreciated. Until next time, get your game on and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching Board Game Today. We always appreciate your views and your support, but there are so many ways for you to support our site. Not only can you do it right here on video, but you can go and check us out at BoardGameToday.com, where we have more news, reviews, interviews, everything you could ever want. But since you're here, if you could always give us a like, subscribe, or share our videos, or watch something else. As always, much appreciated, and get your game on.